Today, we are tackling something that I think pretty much all of us know way too well, and that's workplace stress. You know, that feeling like you're just constantly overwhelmed. But what if I told you there are clear, scientifically proven ways to get a handle on it? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dig into today. I mean, just look at this quote. This comes from the 2025 research paper that's the basis for our explainer today, and wow, it paints a pretty vivid picture, doesn't it? Overweight, overworked, and overwhelmed. I have a feeling that might sound just a little bit familiar to some of you. It really captures the challenge we're all facing. Okay, so let's dive right in. What does it actually mean to be overworked and overwhelmed? What kind of stress are we even talking about here? Because, not all stress is created equal. And that's a really crucial point. See, we're not talking about that good stress, the kind that gets you motivated for a big deadline. Nope. We are focused on what the researchers call distress. That's the bad stuff. The negative, chronic kind that just grinds you down and gets in the way of your health, your happiness, and your ability to get things done. But here's the thing. We're not here to tell you to run from it. The paper actually brings up this fantastic quote from Winston Churchill, and it really frames the whole approach perfectly. The goal isn't to somehow avoid stress altogether. That's impossible. The goal is to face it head on. And that's what we're going to do. Understand it so we can finally manage it. So how in the world do we do that? Well, we turn to the data. The source material for this whole explainer is centered on a massive, really long-term study that was designed to find these exact answers. And listen, when I say massive, I really mean it. The study we're looking at pulled data from nearly 4,000 working adults all across the United States. A sample size that big, it gives the findings a ton of credibility. And get this wasn't some quick one-off survey. Researchers gathered all this information over 2 decades, a 20-year span. That gives us an incredibly powerful look at how stress plays out over the long haul. So the central question, the big mystery the study wanted to solve, was this. Why do some people seem to handle stress so much better than others? The researchers had a hunch that there were these hidden buffers that protect people, and they decided to focus on 2 big ones, education and work experience. All right, we've talked about the why and the how of the study. Now it's time for the big reveal. What did they actually find? The data pointed to 2 really clear, statistically significant factors that act like powerful shields against stress. Okay, so the first key finding was all about education. The analysis showed this super clear pattern. Adults who had a college education reported feeling significantly less stress from those with a high school diploma. And you can really see it right here. This chart shows the average stress scores from something called the Overload Stress Inventory. Look at that drop. It goes from 26.84 for the high school group all the way down to 24.99 for the college-educated group. The data doesn't lie. So what was the second big factor? Work experience. The study found that people with 0 work experience, they reported much higher stress. But here's the amazing part. Having just 1 or more years of experience made a huge difference. It was another super strong buffer. So the bottom line is, this isn't just a hunch or a theory. The data from thousands of people over 2 decades proves it. Higher education and hands-on work experience are scientifically proven to help us manage stress. Okay, so what do we do with that information? And that brings us to the most important part. Because the study doesn't just point out the problem, it gives us a solution. It provides a whole toolkit of strategies that anyone, and I mean anyone, can use. So here are the 6 core strategies the research highlights. Now, I know looking at a list like this can feel a little, stressful in itself, right? So let's think of it this way. You've got tools to manage your internal world, like mindfulness, and tools to manage your external world, like setting digital boundaries. It's about having the right tool for the job. Let's just zoom in on one of those powerful internal tools for a second. Mindfulness. We hear that word all the time, but what does it actually mean? Well, the study defines it really simply. It's just about paying attention to right now on purpose without judging yourself. It's not about emptying your mind. It's about creating a little pause button between a stressful thing happening and your reaction to it. And you don't need to go on some fancy retreat to do it. The paper suggests these super simple, totally doable actions. A couple of minutes of just focusing on your breath in the morning, stepping away from your computer for 5 minutes every hour, setting aside some tech-free time. These are all real, powerful ways to build that mindfulness muscle. The research also reminds us not to forget about a super simple but crazy effective tool,
Humor. This little pun was actually included in the source paper to make a point. Having a moment of fun, a little laugh, is actually a form of what the study calls cognitive restructuring. It just breaks that negative thought cycle and can instantly change your perspective.
All right, so we've gone from understanding the problem to looking at the hard data to exploring this entire toolkit of solutions. So let's bring it all home and talk about what this is really about, taking back control. Because at the end of the day, the biggest message from all this research is one of empowerment. Yeah, education and experience help protect you, but the study makes it clear that you are in the driver's seat. You have the power to build your own resilience, and it all starts with just taking one small step. So I'll leave you with this one question. Think back to that toolkit we just looked at. Mindfulness, taking a break, connecting with people, maybe just finding a good joke. What is one tool from that list that you are going to use this week to take back a little bit of control?